In the last lecture, we defined the notion of a lift of a map G with respect to a continuous map f from y to x. We discussed some of the properties of such a lift. We saw that if we have a couple of curves gamma 0 and gamma 1 which are homotopic to each other, and if at every stage gamma s could be lifted, then the homotopic could also be lifted. However, at no point of time did we talk about the existence of such a lift, and that is precisely what we will be doing in this particular lecture. Let me begin by defining a covering map which gives us a sufficient condition to talk about when a curve could be lifted. Let me define it for you. Covering map. So the setup is as earlier. Let x comma y be open subsets of C. We say that a continuous map, f from y to x is a covering map if the following condition is satisfied. The condition being that if given a point y in capital Y, there exists a neighborhood u of, so the base space is x, so it's the opposite. Given a point x in capital X, so the image is going to be this way. There is a map f from y to x. Given a point x here in this space capital X, there exists a neighborhood u of capital X and open sets V alpha in Y such that F inverse of U is the disjoint union of V alpha and the map F restricted to V alpha from V alpha to U is a homeomorphism. Let's spend a few minutes what this definition says to understand what this definition says. What it says is that if you have a map f from y to x, and if you take some point small x in the base space, so many times the space x is referred to as the base space, and then we have capital Y here, we have this map f. What the definition says is that there exists some neighborhood here which is now being shaded by red. Let's call it U, such that if you pull back U, we will be able to get hold of disjoint union of, so this is going to be V1, V2, V3 and V4. It need not be finite, of course, but the point is to show that the restriction of the map f to V1 or the restriction of map to V2 or each of these Vi's, if you look at the restriction, that's going to be a homeomorphism from Vi to U. So there are going to be sheets of open sets on top of U if you want to visualize it in some particular manner. So let me go over the content of the definition to pinpoint certain key aspects of such a covering map. The first observation is that given any point y, we have a neighborhood V alpha of that point y, where f restricted to the neighborhood is going to be a homeomorphism. In particular, a covering map is going to be a local homeomorphism, and the results that we proved in the last lecture will be applicable to such covering maps. The map, also this open set U is called as an evenly covered neighborhood. The set U is referred to as an evenly covered neighborhood. The name is motivated from the way it's covered. And yeah, before we go further, let's give a few examples. The first example would be on C star. C star to C star, consider the map f from C star to C star, where f of z is being given by z to the power k, where k is fixed. So k greater than or equal to 1. Notice that on C star, f is f doesn't have its derivatives vanishing at all. So in particular, by inverse function theorem, every point does have a neighborhood where the function f is a holomorphic biholomorphism when restricted to it. So let me just note that since f prime at z is not equal to 0 for all z in C star, we have f is a local homeomorphism. In fact, local biholomorphism. Let me put it that way. A biholomorphism is just a holomorphic map with a holomorphic inverse. So in particular, f is a local biholomorphism. Now, from one of the problems that we proved earlier, we have given a point z0 in C. There exists w1 to wk in C such that the equation z to the power k is equal to z0 has exactly these solutions, has wi as solutions. And let ui and vi be obtained. Let me write it this way: vi be neighborhoods of wi and ui of z0. Remember that z to the power k, wi to the power k is equal to z0. So we have ui's are all neighborhoods of z0 such that f restricted to vi from vi to ui is a homeomorphism. In fact, we know that it is a holomorphic map which has a holomorphic inverse. So it's far more stronger than a homeomorphism in our case. But anyway, to establish that this is a covering map, this is enough. And what we will do is define u to be equal to the intersection of the ui's from 1 to n. The fact that there are finitely many helps us. We now have u, which is a neighborhood of z0, and define, well, vi prime maybe as f inverse of u intersected with vi. Then vi primes are all disjoint, mutually disjoint, and f inverse of u is going to be a disjoint union of vi prime for I equal to 1 to n, and when restricted to vi prime, f is going to be a homeomorphism. And in particular, this tells us that f is a covering map. Let's next look at another example which we are quite familiar with, that of the exponential map. Consider exponential map which is from C to C star, where the evenly covered neighborhoods are to be picked a bit carefully. We don't really have to do much effort to really pick the evenly covered neighborhood here. The only thing to note is that since the exponential d by dz of e to the power z is equal to e to the power z, there exists, given any point z0, and so given z0 in C star, let w0 in C be such that e to the power w0 be equal to z0. And by the inverse function theorem, we can get hold of u and v. U be neighborhood of w0 and maybe not, maybe v the neighborhood of w0 and u of z0, such that when restricted, e restricted to the x restricted to v, it's going to be a local biholomorphism. It's going to be a biholomorphism. It's going to be a holomorphic map with a holomorphic inverse. The key observation here would be to show that this is an exercise which I'll leave it to you. The exercise is to show that if you look at v plus 2 pi I n, so let's define Vn to be equal to this particular open set. What is this? This is just the set of all z plus 2 pi I n, where n is varying over integers. And if you look at Vn's, then Vn, this collection is disjoint, mutually disjoint. And another observation would be that f restricted to Vn from Vn to U is a homeomorphism. And another observation would be, what is f here? F is the exponential map here, and therefore if you look at the exponential inverse of U, that's just going to be equal to the disjoint union of Vn, where n varies over integers. And that's precisely what we were trying to prove. So this is the only observation that is to be made, which requires some amount of effort, but I would urge you to sit and really do solve this. And with that, we will be establishing that the exponential is a covering map from C to C star. So why consider covering maps? Covering maps are special in the sense that given a curve on the base space X, given a curve gamma, and given a point y0 tilde in the pullback of the starting point x0 of the curve gamma, then we can get a unique lift of the curve gamma which starts at y0 tilde. Let me write that down. This is what is called as the curve lifting property. Let me write it down in the form of a theorem for you. We have a covering map. Let f from y to x be a covering map. Now, if you consider a curve gamma and let gamma from AB to x be a curve from x0 to x1 in capital X. Suppose y0 is a point which is in the pre-image of x0 under f. Suppose y0 belongs to f inverse of x0. That means f of y0 is equal to x0. Then there exists a unique lift gamma tilde from AB to y of gamma with respect to f, such that gamma tilde of A is equal to y0. That means that we can we can get hold of lift a curve in y naught, in capital Y, which has the initial point exactly at y naught. If it is to be captured in images, suppose you have a curve here, say this is from x0 to x1, and suppose this is the cover. Oh yeah, I didn't say what is meant by a cover. We defined what is meant by a covering map. It's conventional to say that y is a cover of x. Then y is called a cover of capital X. If that X is a covering map from y to x, then we say that y is a cover of x. So suppose we have a cover here, say this is y, this is x, and suppose we have a map f here, and suppose x0 has pullbacks at y0 tilde, say y1 tilde, y2 tilde, and so on. There might be more, I'm just focusing on 3. What the theorem tells us is that suppose we fix one of the pullbacks, say y1 tilde, which is mapping to x0, then there exists a curve gamma tilde starting here. This is going to be gamma tilde, such that it's a lift of gamma with respect to f. That means that f composed with gamma tilde will be equal to gamma. Now, if we had changed the starting point to y0 tilde, the curve would have been different. It would have started with y0, but nevertheless, we still have a lift starting at y0. So, for every such point in the pre-image, we have a curve starting at the pre-image. Okay, let's give a proof of this statement. So notice that given a point x on gamma of AB. So if you take some point x in the image of the curve, we have an evenly covered neighborhood ux. We have a neighborhood u subscript x evenly covered for the covering map capital F. What does this mean? This means that if you look at f from ux to if you look at f inverse of ux, that's going to be a disjoint union of open sets V alpha, and such that if f restricted to V alpha is considered, that's going to be a homeomorphism. That's precisely what it means for each of these to be evenly covered. Now, if you take the Lebesgue number corresponding to this cover, notice that gamma of AB is compact because it's the image of a compact set under a closed set gamma, a closed function gamma, and therefore let delta maybe be the Lebesgue number of the collection of ux, where x is ranging over all points on the image of gamma. So you may not write that down. We'll just make the notation more complicated. The x's are ranging over every point on the image of gamma, and because of compactness we have a delta. What we will do is we will partition our AB such that the partition size is less than delta by 2. So let A equal to T0 less than T1 less than Tn equal to B be a partition of AB with partition size less than delta by 2. So in particular, if you pick gamma of Ti, which is, let's call it xi or something, and gamma of Ti plus 1, they are going to be in one of the ux's, and therefore it will be in one of the evenly covered neighborhoods. So consecutive points on the image are going to lie on evenly covered neighborhoods. That is the goal of picking one such partition. Now once we have such a partition, we will construct our lift by the process of induction. We will construct a lift by induction. Induction on the indices T1, T2, T0, T1, T2 up to Tn on the index Ti. Right. So when I is equal to 0, there is nothing to prove. In fact, for t equal to for T0 and T1, for I is equal to 0 and 1, let's consider what happens. There exists some U, an evenly covered neighborhood. There exists an evenly covered neighborhood such that gamma of T0 and gamma of T1 belongs to U, and let's pick a V. Let V be contained in F inverse of, so let F inverse of U be some disjoint union of V alpha, and pick alpha such that what is the starting point that we are desiring? We want some y0, right? So let V alpha be the particular index where our point y0 is going to lie. So let alpha naught be such that y naught belongs to V alpha naught, and phi from U to V alpha naught be the inverse. Remember that f restricted to V alpha naught from V alpha naught to U is a homeomorphism, and therefore if you consider the inverse, that's also going to be a homeomorphism. This is a homeomorphism of F restricted to V alpha naught. This is an inverse of F restricted to V alpha naught. Now if we define sigma or maybe not, gamma tilde of t to be equal to phi composed with gamma of t for t in t0 comma t1, then gamma tilde is a lift of gamma restricted to t0 comma t1. So the induction process has been kick-started. For t0 singleton, there is nothing to prove because the lift is now going to be just y naught. Here we do have the curve gamma tilde starting from y naught by the very choice of phi. Now suppose we have constructed our curve gamma tilde up till stage k. Suppose by induction, induction is not, we are trying to use induction. Suppose gamma tilde has been constructed up to gamma of tk. Suppose this has already tk minus 1. We will try to do it for tk. Let's try to do it for tk. An image will help here. So this is our x, and we have the curve gamma from x0 to say x1. This is basically x. We shouldn't use x1 here. Okay, I'll use some other indices z1, z2, zk minus 1, zk, and so on. And we know that each of this is sitting in some evenly covered neighborhood, and so on. What can be done is let U be an evenly covered neighborhood containing gamma of tk minus 1 and gamma of tk. This is possible because the distance of gamma of tk minus 1 and gamma of tk is less than delta by 2, and being the delta being the Lebesgue number, we will be able to find one such evenly covered neighborhood. One element in fact from the open cover that we had considered, and our open cover that we had considered were all evenly covered neighborhoods. Let's see where it was done. It was done somewhere here. Yes, so we had considered those neighborhoods which were evenly covered, and because our Lebesgue number is delta and the distance of these two is going to be less than delta by 2, this is certainly possible. So we do have an evenly covered neighborhood U, and we just imitate what we just did. Define gamma tilde of tk minus 1 to be equal to zk minus 1 tilde, and pick V. Suppose F inverse of U is just the disjoint union of V alpha and alpha be such that maybe alpha naught. So the U's and V alphas have now changed. They are not the same as the U's and V alphas earlier, nor is the alpha naught. But for the sake of keeping consistency with the notions, let me just stick to it. So alpha naught be such that F in V zk minus 1 tilde belongs to V alpha naught. And now we fix this V alpha naught and let phi from V alpha naught to U be the inverse of F restricted to V alpha naught. Now let's imitate what we did earlier and define gamma tilde of t to be equal to phi composed with gamma of t for t in tk minus 1 to tk. Notice that by very definition, this map gamma tilde is going to be a lift, and moreover, not just a lift, it will also start from zk minus 1 tilde, and therefore it's going to be a continuous map by the gluing lemma. Also, f, or rather gamma tilde, now defined from a to tk into capital Y, is a lift. When I say lift, the continuity is already captured, is a lift of gamma restricted to ATK. And by the induction argument, we have just completed the induction argument, and hence we have gamma tilde from AB to Y is a lift. So we have been able to compute the lift of gamma. Now the key thing to observe is that this lift that we have constructed is unique. Why is it unique? The uniqueness follows directly from the fact that at a point gamma tilde of A, we are prescribing it to take the value y0 tilde, and the moment we know one value, we know that it's going to be unique by the uniqueness of the lift. And therefore, we do have a lift of a curve gamma onto the cover. The theorem only gives us a guarantee of a lift. It does not tell us much about the property of the lift. For example, consider the following scenario. You look at the map. Instead of looking at C star, let me look at D minus 0 to D minus 0. Maybe C star to C star. Look at the map F from C star to C star given by f of z is equal to z square. We checked some time back that this is indeed a covering map, and let's consider the unit circle. The curve gamma of t be equal to e to the power it, where t is going to go from 0 to 2 pi. If you demand that this be lifted to a curve which starts at 1, remember that 1 is being mapped to 1 by f, and therefore if we demand that a lift be constructed starting at 1, we do have a lift, and that's going to be a unique lift. We in fact know what's going to be the map as well. So define gamma tilde of t to be equal to e to the power I t by 2 for t belonging to 0 to 2 pi. Then notice that f of gamma tilde of t, this is equal to f of z is z square, and therefore this is just going to be equal to e to the power it, which is equal to gamma of t. So this is clearly a lift of gamma, and also notice that at t is equal to 0, gamma tilde of 0 is 1. So this is a lift which has the initial point as 1, and gamma tilde is a lift with initial point. Lift of what? Lift of gamma with respect to f with initial point 1. But notice that gamma is the unit circle, it's a simple closed curve. However, gamma tilde is a curve which starts at 1 and ends at minus 1. So this is not a closed curve. So a closed curve need not be lifted to a closed curve. That's the first thing that we can note. Of course, if you are lifting a null homotopic curve, then the story is different, because now the entire homotopy can be lifted, and therefore the homotopy will lift to a null homotopy in y as well, and therefore the curve will continue to be a closed curve, but not in such curves where it's not null homotopic. As an application of what we have just done, let me just prove a proposition for you. The proposition basically says that if you look at the pullback of a particular point of x and look at its cardinality, that's going to be the same as the cardinality of the pullback of any other point. That's corollary to what we just did. Let f from y to x be a covering map. So let's consider a covering map like this, and suppose x0 and x1 are points in capital X, then the cardinality of f inverse of x0 is the same as the cardinality of f inverse of y0. Of f inverse of x1. Of course, we need to put in a few more conditions. F be a map from y to x where x is path connected. Be a covering map. The path connectedness assumption, will see why this has been imposed. The moment we are given such points x0 and x1, path connectedness ensures that we have a path. In fact, this is all in C, so connectedness was enough. We didn't have to impose this extra condition of path. We just need x to be connected because it's an open connected subset. So y and x are open connected subsets of C, and therefore this is going to be path connected as well. Now the point is that since x is connected, there exists a path gamma from x0 to x1. Now let y be a point in P inverse of x0. You pick some point in the pullback of x0. Then there exists a unique path by the previous theorem. There exists a path, there exists a lift gamma tilde of gamma with initial point, starting point y0, or rather y here. Now let's define a map phi from f inverse of x0 to f inverse of x1 given by phi of y to be equal to gamma tilde of b. Remember that gamma is a path from x0 to x1, and therefore gamma tilde is going to be a path from y to some point in the preimage of x1. So this is going to certainly make sense, and the uniqueness tells us that this map phi is well defined. By uniqueness, this map is injective, in fact. By considering the so it's an exercise for you to sit down and complete. It's a simple exercise actually, which will help you think about why we are considering such a map and how the covering space theory is coming into the picture to conclude that phi is a bijection. And therefore we have a bijective map from the pullback of x0 to the pullback of x1, which hence establishes that this is going to be of the same cardinality. Now that we have seen that curves can be lifted with respect to covering maps, let's ask the more general question of whether we can lift arbitrary continuous maps with respect to covering maps. That will be the goal of the next theorem. Let me write down the theorem and then we'll prove it. So the theorem states the following. So let f be a map from y to x be a covering map. The covering map is from an open subset of C to another open subset of C. Covering map from y to x, open subsets of C. Should probably stop writing this. And let's take some open subset Z. Let Z be an open connected subset of C. And as usual, we will put more conditions on Z, namely that of simply connected, which is both simply connected and locally connected. Locally connected basically tells us that given any point in the space and any neighborhood of it, we will be able to get hold of a smaller neighborhood of the point contained in the open set, which is connected, simply connected and locally connected. Suppose G is a map from Z into X, be a continuous map. Under the hypothesis that we have imposed on Z, we can conclude that there exists a unique lift G tilde from Z to Y of G with respect to F. Let me just draw the picture so that the things, further, uniqueness, maybe I should correct this a bit. Then, given 2 points, given Z0 in capital Z and Y0 in capital Y, such that G of Z0 is the same as F of Y0, then there exists, unless we mention one point where it can be sent to, it's not going to be unique. But the moment it is prescribed where a particular point goes, the lift is unique. That's something which we have already seen. Hence, now there exists a unique lift G tilde from Z to Y of G with respect to F. Let's draw pictures so that the situation is clarified. There is our X here and we have Y here. There is the covering map F from Y to X. We also have a map G from simply connected, locally connected open subset of C, which is being called as Z. And suppose we start off with some point here. Let's say Z0 and say Y0 are a couple of points which both are getting mapped to the same point. Let's call it X0. Suppose G of Z0 is the same as F of Y0. Then the theorem says that there exists a unique lift G tilde which sends Z0 to Y0 and which lifts G. It's in some sense similar to what we did while we did curve lifting. We prescribed a point at which the curve begins and then we have a unique lift. It's something similar to that. Okay, so let's give a proof of this theorem. The proof is going to use the machinery we have developed till now. To talk about G tilde, to even define G tilde, let's pick some arbitrary point. Let Z be a point in capital Z and let's pick a curve. Remember that it's a connected space and in particular it's going to be a path connected space. Let gamma be a curve from Z0 to Z. So if I had to draw the picture, say this is the point Z0 and if this is the point say Z, then you pick a curve gamma which connects Z0 to Z maybe. So maybe I should draw it in this direction. And if we have the point x0 here and if we pick the point, the image of Z, let's call it Y, we're going to get a curve from x0 to y by, sorry, y, it should be called x, it's in capital X after all. Then we have a curve from x0 to x which is obtained by composing with G. Let me just write that down. Let's call it something. Sigma be the curve G composed with gamma from x0 to x, where x is equal to G of Z. Suppose we get hold of a curve like this, sigma. Now, by using the unique lifting property of curves given a initial point by a previous theorem that we have proved, we can lift our sigma. A previous theorem, there exists a unique lift sigma tilde, there exists a unique curve sigma tilde in capital Y with initial point, we can prescribe the initial point, right? The initial point, let's demand that it starts at y0 and lifting sigma with respect to f. So let me just draw that now. We have our y0 somewhere here, and let's get hold of, this is our sigma tilde. So remember that this is sigma, this is gamma, f composed with sigma tilde is sigma because it's a lift, and it's starting at y0. And if we now look at what the endpoint of this sigma tilde is, define the endpoint to be g tilde of z, endpoint, which is the, or the terminal point, which was the standard notation that was used, terminal point of sigma tilde. But then yes, there are many questions that immediately come up. The first question is, why would such a function g be well defined at all? It very much depends on the curve gamma we picked. There was nothing special about the curve gamma that we picked here, right? The gamma was some arbitrary curve from z0 to z1. If we had picked some other, let's call this gamma 0, just for the sake of sigma zeros and gamma zeros. So this is the first curve. As is to be expected, we are going to now take one more curve, gamma 1 from z0 to z, and we will show that it doesn't really matter. It doesn't depend on which curve we pick. So the question of well-definedness, let's address that. Let gamma 1 be another curve. Let gamma 1 be another curve in capital Z from Z0 to Z1. The thing to keep in mind is that our Z is simply connected. Since Z is simply connected, any two curves between two fixed points are going to be homotopic with fixed endpoints. That's something which we have already seen. Gamma 0 is homotopic to gamma 1 with fixed endpoints. Let's give the homotopy some name through the homotopy H. So the homotopy H. H, remember, is going to be from 0, 1 cross AB into this case it's going to be omega. So this is the homotopy where H0 comma T is going to be gamma 0 of T, H1 of T is going to be equal to gamma 1 of T, H of S comma A is Z0, H of S comma B is equal to Z1. This is precisely what the properties of H are going to be, and of course H is continuous. And if you consider, so let me just give you an exercise here to observe that G composed with H is a homotopy with fixed endpoints, from sigma 0 tilde to sigma 1 tilde. Remember that sigma 0 tilde, sigma 0 to sigma 1. We still have not got, we are going to do it later. By lifting it, we will be getting hold of a homotopy from sigma 0 tilde to sigma 1 tilde, but we are not there yet. G composed with H, by simple verification, one can see that it's of course a continuous map and the other properties of a homotopy with fixed endpoints are satisfied. And therefore, it's certainly going to be a homotopy from sigma 0 to sigma 1. Also notice, if sigma S is defined to be, what is it, G composed with H of S comma T. So this is sigma S of T. This is a curve from sigma, from Z0, sorry, now it is in X, right? So this is going to be from X0 to small x. And by the curve lifting that we have done, curve lifting theorem, by a previous theorem, let me put it that way, each of these sigma S can be lifted. There exists a lift, in fact a unique lift, sigma S tilde in capital Y of sigma s with initial point y0. This is something which we can ensure by the previous theorem. Let me now go back a few theorems and show you that this entire homotopy can be now lifted. There was a theorem which we proved earlier wherein for any local homeomorphism, we can lift the entire homotopy if each gamma s, this is precisely the theorem, for every s, if gamma s can be lifted to a path gamma s tilde, then what we will be able to establish is that the entire homotopy can be lifted to a homotopy with fixed endpoints in capital Y. So always remember that a covering map is in particular a local homeomorphism as well. So again, now by a previous theorem which I just showed, by a previous theorem, G composed with H can be lifted to homotopy with fixed endpoints. With fixed endpoints in capital Y. In particular, the terminal point of sigma 1 tilde. So let me from sigma 0 tilde to sigma 1 tilde, where sigma 1 tilde is the lift of sigma 1 which starts at y0. So in particular, the terminal point of sigma 1 tilde is the same, is equal to G tilde of Z, which is the terminal point of sigma 0 tilde. Hence, G tilde is well defined. So we now have a map which does satisfy the condition. So check that G tilde of Z, if you compose it with F, this is going to be equal to G of Z. That's quite straightforward because this is a lift and it certainly satisfies this condition. We certainly have now a potential candidate which could be a lift. Now this candidate does work, but we still have to check for something. We have to show that this G tilde that we just defined, that is in particular a continuous map as well. So that's the next claim that will be proven. G tilde is continuous. Now remember that we have not used the fact that Z is locally connected, and that's what this is precisely where we will be using that. To show that G tilde is continuous, we will prove the following. Enough to show, let me just write it as ETS, enough to show that given a point, say Z in W, let V be a neighborhood of f of Z. Then Z is an interior point of f inverse, not f, G tilde inverse of V. If we show this, we would have established that our map G tilde is a continuous map. So you should sit down and think about it. This is precisely what is needed to be shown. And let's give a proof of this particular claim. The claim is going to use the fact that Z is a locally connected space. We will come to that, but before that, V being a neighbor, let's call this point something. Let's call this point Y. F of Z, neighborhood of f of Z doesn't make sense. G tilde of Z. Yes, so G tilde of Z, I should also be a little careful. G tilde is the map from from Z to Y, which is the potential candidate of a lift. So if you look at G tilde of Z, which is Y, we have a neighborhood V. Given a neighborhood V, the first observation is that we can shrink this neighborhood if needed and restrict it to an open set where our map F is a local homeomorphism. By shrinking V, if needed, assume that F restricted to V from V to U is a local homeomorphism. Remember that is a homeomorphism. This is possible because F is a covering map. In particular, it's a local homeomorphism. And because it's a local homeomorphism, we can restrict to a neighborhood where it is indeed a homeomorphism. Now, the shrinking doesn't make any difference to what we are intending to prove, because if we can get hold of a neighborhood of Z in F inverse of some smaller set than V, then it's in particular contained in F inverse of V as well, and therefore we will be good with respect to proving the theorem. So we will work with V, which is now a neighborhood of Y where our F is going to be a homeomorphism. Let's call the inverse with inverse something. Let's call it something with inverse phi from U to V. This is precisely the inverse. Now let's consider G inverse of U. Remember that G is a continuous map to begin with, right? Since G is continuous, consider G inverse of U, which is an open set, which is in fact a neighborhood, which is a neighborhood of Z. Why is that the case? Because of the simple reason that G inverse of U is an open set, and in particular it contains Z. This is the exact reason why it's a neighborhood. And now, by using the local connectedness, of capital Z, we can get hold of a neighborhood of small z. There exists a neighborhood, let's call it something W of small z, such that W is contained in G inverse of U, and W is path connected. W is connected, that's enough. Locally connected means it's connected, and in particular, connectedness and path connectedness are the same for open sets here in the complex plane, and therefore we have W is path connected as well. Now my claim is that W is contained in G tilde inverse of V. If you are proving this, we have essentially proved that G tilde is a continuous map. So this claim is the final piece to establish our result. Okay, so let's pick some arbitrary point in W. We'll show that it's contained in G tilde inverse of V. So let Z prime be some point in W, and the first thing is that because W is path connected, we have a path. There exists a path. The path is from, say, let's call it something, delta from Z to Z prime in capital W. So this path connectedness of W is being used very crucially. And if you look at G composed with delta, G composed with delta is then, so let me draw a picture so that the situation is clear. The Z is here, the X is here, and the Y is here. We have a map here F, we have a map here G, and we have W, something of this sort. Z0 will be some point somewhere. We have picked a point Z here, and Z prime be some other point here, and we have connected it with some delta, and again there will be x0 here, there will be an x somewhere here which will have U as a neighborhood, and within U, G composed with delta is going to be a path from, is a curve from X to X prime. So G composed with delta is a curve in U, because G inverse of U contains W. G composed with delta is a curve in U from X to X prime. Now we will lift this G composed with delta to a path in capital V. Okay, define G composed with delta tilde to be equal to phi composed with G composed with delta. Notice that this is going to be now a path starting at Y, because phi of X is equal to Y, and this is going to give you some path from, say, Y to Y prime, and this is just phi composed with G composed with delta. Now let's see. Now if you consider the path that we started off with, suppose this is our gamma 0, we will have gamma 0 tilde, sorry, gamma sigma 0 here, and then sigma 0 tilde above. And we have a sigma 0 tilde here. And a few simple checks will tell us that the concatenation of gamma 0 plus delta, if you look at the image of this, g of this is going to be equal to sigma 0 plus g composed with delta, and further we have sigma 0 tilde plus phi composed with g composed with delta is a lift of sigma 0 concatenated with g composed with delta. And notice that sigma 0 tilde plus phi composed with g composed with delta is now a path from y0, from the point y0 to the point y prime. So in particular, g tilde of, then by definition of g tilde of what was the point here, z prime, that's going to be equal to the terminal point of sigma 0 tilde plus phi composed with g composed with delta, the concatenation. So in particular, that's going to be the terminal point of phi composed with g composed with delta, which belongs to capital V. And that's precisely what we were trying to show, isn't it? Phi composed with g composed with delta is, phi is after all a map from u to v, and therefore this is going to be in capital V. In particular, z prime belongs to g inverse of g tilde inverse of v, and that's precisely what we were trying to prove. W, which tells us we took an arbitrary point, and hence W is contained in g tilde inverse of v. And with this, we also established the fact that our map g tilde is a continuous map. So we have just proved that our lift is continuous, and therefore given any such map G, we will be able to talk about uniqueness. Has already been proved. We will be able to talk about a unique lift. Let me conclude this lecture by observing that this gives us a very, very simple way of lifting our non-zero holomorphic maps on simply connected domains in the complex plane. So let omega, now let me just add the extra condition of local connectedness, omega be simply connected, locally connected open connected subset of C, and G from omega to C star be holomorphic map. We also have that X, then X, we know that X is a covering map from C to C star. The conclusion is that then there exists lift G tilde from omega to C such that X of G tilde is equal to G. And if we prescribe the pullback or the lift at one point, G tilde is uniquely determined, and that's precisely what we had done while we discussed the branch of the logarithm. Let me stop.